All right. So welcome back to the second episode in our Building Your Set series. We have two more fantastic comics to talk about their writing process, how it was in the beginning, how they do it now. Who knows what else is going to come up, and I will let them introduce themselves to you.
I've never introduced myself on a podcast.
Really?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, You know him and you love him. His Venmo is at Brendan_Sagalow from the Here's the Scenario podcast. Brendan Sagalow. Hi, thanks for having me.
Oh, now I want to do one like that.
Do
I
one.
know.
You have seen her. No, I don't know.
No, you do.
The thing that's hard to do. This is when
like
you have no credits.
How kids in college do it when the people that do bad intros. You
and
go, okay, your next person is Casey Balsham.
Yes, when they say your name in the middle, it makes me so crazy. Okay. Here's somebody that's never ran a comedy show, comedy intro. Great, we have another comic, Cassie Balsham, and she has a podcast called Shady Shit that she hasn't done since August, and you may have heard her on her album on iTunes. So here she is, Casey.
It's like a room for three people.
Yeah.
I like that started with great. So our next comment, it started with a word.
Yeah.
It's because she was responding to the comic before.
Of course,
Exactly.
There's a whole world built around this. Sure.
We are
She's
in an
a person,
alternate world
Brendan.
now. Yeah.
She's a person.
She's studying economics.
Yes. I'm at a benefit for colon cancer, and this is the host. Okay.
Okay. Makes sense.
There we go. Brought it down.
You can't make too much
Perfect.
fun of her. It's a good cause.
Yeah.
I've like, I'll do this thing now, and my friends call me an asshole for doing this, but when that happens and I shake the host's hand, I go, you say the name last. And then I just go up on stage. Yeah. I go, you say the name last. And then I go up on stage. Because that happened to me. Someone said that to me, and then I never did that again.
Many times. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I go, of course,
Yeah.
You don't
Do you mean
wait
just
till
to
after
other
you
comedians?
No, I don't care. I want them to know just in case they die. Just in case they die during my set from laughter.
From colon cancer.
From colon cancer. Brought on by laughter, of course.
Brought
Obviously.
on, as we know, it is one of the aggregators of the colon.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Anyway.
Well, with our fantastic
Those are our
intros out of the
intros.
way. Very good. Very
Yay.
good. See, you wrote on the spot. Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah. Okay. Bye. See you.
Hi. Good times.
Oh, my
everybody.
water
Thank
just
you.
broke.
Yeah. Oh my God. They did say that I have a lot of fluid. So I really am hoping for like one of those rom-com moments where I'm like, oh,
Yes.
taxi. I
Yeah.
think it would be really,
Yeah.
it'd be really fun if it happened on stage, but I don't.
I was
think
just
I
going to
would
say
be
that.
lucky.
I don't want to.
Especially
it was on stage.
at New York, so that it could be taped.
Oh my God, that's true.
I'm gonna need this clip.
Yeah.
Hey, Julia, make sure you say that one.
Yeah. Splash zone. Woo.
Oh, that would go viral as shit.
That's
Oh my
hilarious.
God. Yeah. Whale of a comedian gives birth on
Would you
stage,
finish
first
your
row
set?
soaking wet? I actually
Can
have
you
thought about
physically?
this.
Okay.
Yes, you can. Because technically when your water breaks, yes, they lose all their like juice around them. So you want to go in, but you can like take a shower. You can like, some people don't have their bag packed. So like, it's not like a crazy immediate thing unless like it's really not like it's, so you can kind of, and I actually have thought about that. I'm like, would I finish my set? And then I was like,
You gotta finish the set.
I feel like you have to, right?
You have to finish the set, but you also have to mention that your water broke. Like you have to go, well, my water broke. You would kill.
Yeah, I don't think that's
like,
just gonna
what?
like.
Whoa! And you're like, I can't believe I'm doing this.
Yeah.
And I'm finishing the set. That's my time. And then you go, and you just spray them with water.
I don't think that's physically how it works.
No, but I think it's like, because I don't think it would drop onto the stage. I think I would just have a big wet spot and then have to be like, Well, folks, you see that is that not as fun?
That's
for
true,
anyone?
because you're gonna have like leggings or pants or something on. That'll catch
Yeah,
that'll catch
I
it.
would hopefully have pants on. I mean, I don't know. I wore a dress the other night. If I was wearing a dress, it might be a on stage situation.
Yeah, the baby might actually fall out if you're just like, so I was at the mall the other day.
Yeah.
Just falls onto the stage.
I know. It's so because I have a lot of jokes about going to the mall. So
Yes.
That's
You're
my-
well
that's
known
my
for your mall
classic
humor.
setup, dude. That's my classic
Well known.
setup. I was at the mall the other day and
I was at the mall. There's not even
believe
like
this.
malls.
I know no one
No,
goes
those
to
don't
the mall
exist anymore.
That joke is going to be so dated in
Yeah.
2 years.
Yeah.
2 years.
There's literally people
Anyway.
on TikTok right now going, what is that?
What is a
does
mall?
that word mean?
So I was
Yeah.
on a sponsored post on the Facebook Marketplace in my VR set, and
All right.
I was on
We
an
run that one into
influencer
the
trip.
ground, I think.
We did it.
So,
We did it. We're the
woo!
champs.
yeah, a lot more where that came from.
All right. So thinking way back to when you were
Okay.
first starting out and you were building your set and you were like, all right, I got 10 minutes or 5 minutes that are great, but I can do 10. How long did it take you to get from, all right, I can do these jokes to like, I know I can carry a 15-minute set?
Huh. You do
I-
have a moment where you click, where you go, I could do that.
Do you?
Yeah. Well, maybe not
Casey
you.
still
but
hasn't had it.
I
Casey has no
never-
idea how good she is at comedy.
I still bring a paper on stage. Somebody still says 25 minutes to me and I go, I hope I have. Like time has always terrified me. So like I even still get the light. I'll get a 30-minute light for a headlining set because I just
Really?
want to know. Oh, I make them. I go, I'm so sorry, but can you light me at 30 and 40 and 40? Like I make
Wow.
them because time has always terrified me. And I always think that because I think I write in shorter jokes though. Do you know what I mean? Like I think sometimes it just always felt like I was throwing shit against a wall. So it feels
Right.
like time goes very fast. And I also talk too fast. So time has always scared me. So like the jump between 8 to 10 to 15 felt drastic to me. I never felt like I had that click-in moment. I felt like I had this, I hope I make it. Like I always felt like I was like, I hope I make it. Like I never
Yeah.
felt confident in a 15-minute set. I think until I got to New York when it was like, that's the time of the sets.
Yeah.
And in LA, they're 8 minutes. I think
So-
there's still fucking 8 minutes in LA.
Probably.
So
Yeah.
you still get like that like, how much time am I doing?
Time
Okay.
panic. Yeah.
All right. The
Yeah.
time panic. Wow. Cause I think as like you're doing it, it gets when you're like, okay, I could do 5 minutes. And then when someone's like, when like your first year, they're like, okay, you're doing 10. And you're like, 10. Like you have that panic, you're like 10. And then when that goes away, when you're like 10, fine. Okay. And then
Yeah.
when they're like 15, you have that, oh, 15, maybe. And then
Yeah.
that just
Those
keeps
last
happening.
5 are just like a weird struggle after the set.
And I'll tell you what, now if somebody said do 3 hours, I would gladly stand up there and just be like, you're gonna hear everything. You're gonna hear everything I've ever said.
I do feel like now though that like it's almost harder to do the shorter sets. Like when someone says 5 minutes, you're kind of like, what even is that? When someone says 10 minutes, I'm like, I don't like now that you get used to doing like these 15, 20s and stuff like that. It is sometimes I have no concept of a shorter set, but
Yeah.
definitely making the jump from like 10 to 15 and being like, I have this 10. And then that last 5 minutes is just so weird because you're like,
and when you
what
don't
is
know
up
what
with
you're
you?
doing, sorry.
No.
When you don't know what you're doing, you're like filling in the space like you're writing an essay and you need to
With
reach a certain
nothing.
amount of words.
Yes, with
Nothing.
with absolute dog shit stuff where you're just like,
Yeah.
but the last 10 were pretty good though, huh? Because
Yeah,
now
of course. Yeah, I still say that.
now I'm just telling secrets essentially.
Yeah. You're like, you guys want to hear some new stuff? And that does worse. And you're like, oh God.
Yeah. I do have to say though, Brendan, I don't know if you feel this way too. Sometimes though, like when I look back at the fact that now that, have more time and have like can do like these longer sets, even though sometimes I still feel like I'm like, oh my God, 50 minutes is so long. Cause it's actually kind of exhausting to do longer sets. I feel personally, unless they're about one topic. Like when I was doing the one woman show about one topic, that was the easiest writing has ever been, because it was just like I got to write a story and then punch it up, and I was like, oh,
Right.
I should be doing this all the time. But how did I start this sentence? I'm so
You
pregnant.
said it gets exhausting.
Being exhausted.
Oh,
doing 15-minute sets.
No longer sets, like an hour. You said like,
'Cause
oh,
you're
being
like-
up there for 50 minutes is exhausting
Unless it's
on
about
because
like
it's on
one
different
subject.
topics.
yeah,
Maybe you got to start
fully-
slowing down a little bit, Casey.
I fully had a point, and lost it. Oh wait,
Damn, dude. Damn, that
You
sucks.
are so pregnant. Oh my
Wait,
god.
That sucks.
yesterday I forgot I was wearing a scarf. Shit, fuck. There was what was I gonna say?
You're
Oh,
so close.
I am so close. I am. Oh, I know, I got it.
Yeah,
There we
say
go.
it.
Say it. Do you feel like sometimes when you look at a set, you don't even remember where the jokes have come from?
Oh, that's interesting. It's like when you say a word too much and you're like, it loses meaning.
Yeah, like sometimes I look at my 50-minute set and I go, when did I write this? How did like
No.
sometimes I don't even know the process. Really, you remember you know
Yeah,
like
because
all the things, because
I mean,
I don't know where any of my
I
jokes
know
have
where
come from.
I know where it all comes from, but my problem is sometimes I'll lose the energy I had for it when I was first talking about it, and then
Of course.
I can get real lazy. So like the joke isn't done, and I need to focus on it, but I just am like on to the next thing. So it's like
Yeah.
I have this joke, but it's not at its potential because I'm like talking about, like, if I have a fight with my chick and I'm talking about it on stage, the first like week or two of it, I'm like killing. And then
Yeah.
if time goes by and I don't care about that thing anymore, I'll like be like, yeah, I was fighting with my girlfriend.
It just like
and
doesn't
who
come through as
cares?
much.
Yeah. So then,
Yeah.
and I don't want to feel like I'm faking it. So I'll be like, how do I get the thing that I was talking about, and how can I talk about it with the same kind of passion without having to mention and bring myself into that place of like the fight that I had 6 months ago. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm like,
Well, do you
hey,
ever
what's-
think of just like letting that go, being like, well, you lived your life and maybe you
No.
know you're not gonna know.
Yeah. These
Not
jokes
letting
are
it go.
so they're so precious that, like, especially when you're building an hour, and I don't know if it's like this for you, Casey, but when I'm building an hour and I'm trying to like have a longer set, it feels like I'm writing, it feels like I'm building a wall on quicksand. Cause I'll be like, okay. And then I'll do the joke that I wrote like a couple of weeks ago. And I'm like, this sucks. I was like, I don't want to do that anymore. I'm sick of saying that thing. Get rid of it. I don't want to do that anymore. I don't feel that
Yeah.
way.
But sometimes I feel like I have to put in the jokes that I'm over just to like to reach time sometimes, because I do cycle in and out certain things. But again, like my jokes are so short that sometimes I'm like, I need to kind of keep throwing things in. And I also have realized that like I really need to I have to be more present on stage than I thought I needed to be,
Yeah.
because sometimes that will help me write more to the joke, and sometimes I can stretch a joke longer. But then, what's so funny is like sometimes on a Friday night I'll start to tell a joke and I'll like add all these tags and it's like going, and then I try to do that Saturday night and it just like it's not the same. Like
Yeah.
so I think what I just realized at this last weekend that I did a couple weeks ago is, and I'm somebody again, like, because I get so scared sometimes of time and all that stuff. I have my script and I've just realized I have to trust myself. Like I have to kind of go in a different order each night, I think, because if I try to replicate what I did the night before, I will lose time
Interesting.
actually, because I'll bail on a joke that's not working as well. And then I'll freak out and then I'll forget like the next part of it. And then
Wow.
I'll go into
Mhm.
something else. And then I'll literally be like, oh, I forgot a whole fucking 5-minute chunk to this thing because I was in a
Right.
complete
Right.
spiral. And then I've done a whole set. And at the end I go, oh, remember when I was talking about this?
Yeah. Oh yeah. And you're like,
But I've done that.
So
I've
I'm
been like,
back at the
"Here's
mall
another-"
again. And
Exactly. I will literally go, okay,
Yeah.
and then I'll do whatever, I'll do a little add-on. But I realized I have to be, I was very like, felt like I very much was like on a script because I was like, this is what I have and I need to say all this or I'm not going to make it to the time. But when I'm more present, the time goes faster.
Right.
I add more to the jokes. I do more with the crowd that also is like, you throw an
Yeah.
extra 10 minutes of crowd work in between and then you're doing a 40-minute set and then that's just 2 20-minute sets. And that's one night in New York,
Seems like you're still obsessed with the time, unfortunately. The irony of being like, if I'm present, it will make the time go faster. You know what I mean?
It does.
Where it's like you should just be focused on being present, and then one day you're gonna go, that was it. That was 50 minutes already. No, I'm doing longer. I'm going an hour 10.
It's the 3-hour Sagalow show.
I know. No, it's a 3 hours. It's because I don't love doing long sets. I don't love it. Like, I think 30 minutes is a sweet spot. And I know I should, after this long, I should be like, oh, the more. But also, I think it's definitely not as fun when you're like kind of a no-name headliner and they're not specifically there to see you. You're kind of just like, you're kind of trying to be like, please, like, whereas I feel like if I was selling out on my own and they were all people that came specifically to see me, I think it'd be so much more fun.
Yeah.
But right now it's like when there's like a handful of people that are coming to see me from Instagram and maybe like one or like a handful of people, and I really mean like on one hand from a podcast or something like that. It just feels different. It feels like I'm just begging for.
Of course, like, you're starting at a deficit.
I'm getting paid for this and I would like you to not complain about me. But yeah, it feels like you're starting from a deficit. So I think that's why I get a little tripped up. But if it was people seeing me, I'd probably really be able to like add on and run with it and lean in because they're fucking into me.
But why don't you just do that and hope that they'll come along with you? Because like I hear what you're saying, because like I'm trying to have a better relationship with the crowds that are coming out to see me headline now, because it is that situation. They for the most part, there's like a couple of fans here or there, but it's like a lot of it is like I'm just, my main goal here is trying to get them to come back and be and make fans. Like, you're just making fans at this point. We're just trying to make and be like, please and stuff like that. Like, I had a heckler last night at a show that I did that I handled very well, very professionally. The anger was coming out, but I was able to. I'm headlining and these people are very uncomfortable, so I'm like handling it perfectly. I'm getting big laughs in between and stuff and like that. And I after I went to their each, this is what I have to do. I have to go to each table after the show and I thank them and I go,
like
thank
a
you
wedding,
so much.
like
a wedding, like it's a wedding. Yeah. And I well, during the show, I have somebody come around with a camera and a microphone just so I can watch that at my hotel later. How are you liking the show? But I do that, and they were all talking about the heckler thing, and I was just laughing about it last night, where I was like, I'm gonna get more fans from that than I am for my act, which is very depressing, but it was making me laugh. And I don't know how that is.
I don't think it's depressing. I think it's because they liked how it was a weird situation. They liked to hit up, but also you got to remember, like, now with what we're doing online, with how we're kind of with the clips that are coming out and how much crowd work clips are coming out, I think people kind of almost expect that to be part of a show, maybe.
Yeah,
they sure
and so
do.
when it does happen, they're kind of like, I feel like I'm in Instagram, or like something like that. So it actually probably got you fans because they like you and you handled it well, but also it's just because what they've seen so much that they think it's part of the experience of a comedy show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which that's the depressing part, not how you handled it or that's how you got fans, but that people now kind of, I think, expect there to be some kind of weird disturbance or some weird turmoil or some weird crowd moment,
Yeah, it's like when MTV made grunge and like mosh pitting very popular. I watched this documentary and they said that like MTV pushed like moshing and like fighting in the crowds. And then so they'd go to these emo shows or these like punk rock shows, and it started and people who were there before that are like, what are you doing? That's not what we do here. Like we actually listen to the music and we have fun and hang out. But then MTV made this whole world of like fighting and stuff. But I also just remembered my point with the crowd thing, because I'm in the same boat as you, and it's hard not to. and I'm pregnant. Yeah.
You forget.
I got 1 baby, 2 baby, 3 baby. I have 3. I'm 3 pregnant. Like a cow.
I like how you said not with triplets. I'm 3 pregnant.
Yeah.
There's a whole word for it, Brendan. Don't have these triplets. I am 3 pregnant.
I hope it's a double. I'm pregnant. Hope it's a double. Hope they look the same.
You fucking idiot.
So yeah, like actually the presentness will make you like that more because it does feel
That's
like
what
a
I'm trying
job.
to
You're
do,
like,
yeah.
fuck this stuff. But if I'm up there and I'm just going like, yeah, this is what my life is like right now, and it's kind of shitty, but blah 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 blah. Like if I'm into it, I think I have to be into it.
I have
more
to be
than
into
them.
it.
100%.
And then they'll
And-
just watch me.
And when I'm
freak
trying
out.
to remember a script, I'm not into it. So I've
Mhm.
just really realized, yeah, that's what I'm trying to do as I'm like doing more headlining things, is just
Yeah.
trying, to be more present and being like, whatever's on that paper, like, you know it, and just know that you know it, but also like just fucking be there in this room full of people.
Yeah, dude.
And just also just do that and talk about just your jokes. Like I think I really still need to like talk myself into that. I know my own jokes because I always think I'm in a blackout and I don't. But even if you do, you can like, it's like our brains are made
You got other
to just
jokes.
talk.
You got so many jokes.
And our brains are just at this point made to just talk until somebody laughs. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it's kind of like, because I can't do that. I mean, I can do it, but I don't have fun doing the script thing. Like,
Yeah.
And the sets that I love the most are where I get to say everything that I've said, but I've also said more stuff because it's like I have a joke for that. That's why Seinfeld is so good, because he writes so much that he's got a joke for everything. He can kind of stay in the moment. And if something comes up, he goes, oh yeah, I said this. I thought of this about it. You know what I mean? So he'll like it's like what like rappers do when they freestyle. It's like, oh, I write so much that I have a line for this thing that's coming up that like, I this isn't planned out, you know? So if you're like bitching about like, oh, I'm pregnant, and then like blah, blah, blah. And then you just say, they're pissing in me, which is what I would say, because I'm thinking about that all the time. And now maybe you have a joke about piss. And then you're like, and piss sucks because, and you just wrote a tweet about piss like 3 weeks ago. And you're like, oh, I can use it right now.
Or like 5 years ago. Or like it is kind of, there is times on stage when something happens and you go, whoa, and like an old joke comes to the front of your brain and you're like, but then sometimes I will say that is the time that sometimes when an old joke comes to my brain and I'll start to say it, and then halfway through I go, you don't remember the end of this.
Yeah.
And then I'm kind of just like saying it, hoping that it comes. And sometimes without even me, like sometimes it does, it's very bizarre how jokes, like how they will kind of just come. Like you'll just kind of go, oh, I don't remember, like in my conscious brain, I'm going, I don't remember the end of the joke, but my mouth says it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just kind of, it is weird how
you just have a bunch of neurons that are wired together
that
for
are like,
that joke.
we remember that this is about, we remember how this goes.
Or there's just stuff that like works in 10 years because you're like, oh, that fits there. That's perfect. Like I wrote
there's
something
so much that happens where
because when I like first started, you're writing all of this like non sequitur kind of like bit derivative kind of like, hey, like one of the jokes that's killing in my act right now, I wrote like 4 or 5 years ago,
but you just didn't have a place
thing.
Or just didn't have like the wherewithal to make it a joke. Yeah,
exactly. I'm like, and now I'm talking about something and I go, wow, that actually fits perfect with this thing. Or now
it's just something, it's like a premise that kind of just like floats around you until it finds its place. That I'd say is probably what happens to me the most. Like I write a lot on stage because I try to like, if something's working, I try to dig in a little deeper, but also a lot happens where all of a sudden something that I thought of that like didn't work comes back to something new, or I just have a little bit more every year, a little bit more experience to make it a joke.
Yeah,
because like
there's confidence.
And confidence. But I also feel like, I feel like I wrote a lot more when I first started because you're kind of forced to, because you're going to open mics with the same people every night. And it's like, you have to constantly kind of be generating weird bullshit, so there is part of me that feels like I wrote a lot more A lot more when I first started, but also the benefit of kind of being this far into it now is that sometimes now when I write a joke, my brain, like I know the structure of it, that I can put it in a regular set and it will work the first time because I know how I tell jokes. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas like I'd have to work things out a lot at the beginning before. And like I said, still sometimes there's things that float above, but there is kind of a nice part about being at this stage to be like, oh, I think this could be a joke, and being able to put it right into the set after it goes into the set right away because you kind of
Right.
know how to write a joke at this point.
Yeah, I
Mm.
mean, we've been doing it for over a decade at this point.
Yeah.
Like, if you can't find a way to like write a joke or like fit, at least know a little bit, like we're developing this skill inside of our brains and that function out of our mouths, and like we know our brand of talking, kind of, and
Yeah.
like
You
it's
kind of
so
know how you tell jokes.
it's so Bruce Lee at this point. Like Bruce Lee would just talk about how like somebody would like he could just react without thinking. So like if somebody was like threw a punch, he's just like bam, like his body did it. And that's kind of like
Yeah.
after a while of doing this, you're just like, yeah, I could kind of figure this out. Will the jokes be good? I don't know, but I'll know how to say them.
Yeah.
You know, I couldn't
Yeah.
have been more opposite of you. For the first 8 years of my career, I wasn't writing at all. I wasn't writing. It was all love of the game, love of the culture, like going out, getting fucking blackout.
He's just the guy that just got up on stage and talked about your day.
What? Not even, dude.
Never
Not
that
even
person.
that. Not
I
even
always
that.
needed a script.
No, not even that. I wouldn't even be that guy because there's something about that guy that's like, I think I could just do this. I would have like, I would write one joke a month and I'd be like, this is the one, you know, I'm going to focus on this. And it's something like, why did doobie doobie do? You know, it's like 2 lines. And I'm like, I just got to figure it out, you know?
Yeah.
But then I started writing every day. And yeah, it just makes you better. It makes like the longer sets easier because you're like, it makes going out and doing comedy fun because you've got this new thing, you know? So if like you're going, that's another thing. Like when I go to headline, I'm writing a ton of new lines so that like, because I'm doing a longer set, I should have and it'll make it fun for me because I'm like, oh, I can't wait to get to this thing I'm about to talk about. And yeah, so I thank writing every day for that.
Do you?
We'll be right back.
Sorry, Ames, what were you gonna ask? What were you gonna ask?
No, you go. I'll write a little note.
I was just gonna see, because this is not like do you like, is it like a thing where you do a free write every day? Like you just say, okay, for an hour I'm gonna sit down and try and see what, because that's just I've never been able to do that. I've never been a person that can just sit down with a blank piece of paper and go like I have to be a little bit inspired or tricked, or like there's got to be but also my brain, I shut off for months, weeks at a time. Like when I go on vacation, I'm not like looking to be like, whoa, hotels, and but like I'm not like, I'm never that person that's like looking for it, but I do need, sometimes I need things to be happening around me in order to create. Like I can't really like sit with a piece of paper and go premise. Sometimes I can look at old premises and be like, oh, they're like, we're saying, like sometimes these things, you write these things where you're like, this could be something and I'm just not ready to get there yet, and try to add to it. Or like, I get booked on a new jokes night and I'm kind of forced to relook at a couple ideas that are just like weird sentences that I've written down. But like I'm not great at just the free write, like writing every day. Like I can't, I cannot.
Free writing is fun, but like it's like journaling. So it's like anytime I'm free writing, it's about some depressed shit. I'm always feelings. I'm like sad or upset or whatever, or like, you know, whatever. But like, you know, I like to do that though, just to get it out. You know, I feel like journaling is so important. It's like so important to just get the feeling of whatever you're feeling out, and then, you know, you don't have to take it to stage with you. You know, so anything you write, you're like, I'm not taking that.
But so what is the structure of when you do your daily writing? Like, what do you
so
how do you tell yourself you're gonna do?
So I set my alarm for 9 o'clock. I get up at 10:30.
That's
That's
yep.
a little, hey, a little Johnny Carson joke.
Yeah.
Uh,
A scroll.
no, this is so when I find when I can find the time to go write, which I'm privileged to have because I have no responsibilities, basically besides pay my bills and call jury duty, which I forgot to do and I missed jury duty today. It's fine. I'll get another summons. It's all right.
Put it on your to-do list, right? I'll tell you, that is something I write every day is a fucking to-do list.
Yes, you need a to-do list and
I
you
write
need to
a
put
to-do list
writing on
every
the
day.
to-do list because even if it's like 20 minutes, you do it and then you're like, that was so productive and it was only 20-30 minutes.
Yeah.
So I try to do it like it's like a fucking real job, so like I'll like
Mhm.
I
It
go
is.
I no matter what time I get to the coffee shop, I'm not leaving till about 5:30.
So you
And
go to a coffee shop every day.
I go to a coffee shop. I like to be around people because if I'm
Yeah,
in
yeah, I get
a
it.
thing,
When you're in your house, it's like it's all your house stuff.
I have my
Yeah.
video games.
Your
It's
programs are there.
all
Your clothes
that's
are
so
there to put
perfect.
away.
All my
Yeah.
house stuff is surrounding me, and I
House
can't
stuff is
write like
there.
this.
Mhm.
No.
I feel like I'm in my cell,
Yeah.
So I'll go to a coffee shop. I'll try to journal. I'll do a journal entry, which is free writing. So it's kind of like, it's like when you go to the gym. And what would I know? And
So I've heard.
So I've heard. So they tell me. No, it's like when you go to the gym and you get on like the treadmill or the elliptical to kind of like just like get the blood going.
Mhm.
So that's like the free writing part. Then I will listen to my sets, the sets that I haven't listened to yet. I
so
know.
brave.
That's
You're
the hardest part. But after
I
a
know.
while,
But yeah, I know you're supposed to.
love
I
You
know
your
just
you're
own
get
supposed
voice.
immune
but-
to it.
you become immune to it. I start loving my own voice. Like I start going like, oh, that was so funny. You know what I mean? I'm going like, dude, you're the best. Like I'm talking myself up, but at the same
Good.
time,
Oh, I love that.
at the same
Yeah.
time, I'm noticing things that I am talking down about myself, like about that. If I said to my friend, like, oh my God, I said whatever before a punchline, like I fucked it up. I said, they wouldn't they'd be like, you're psychopath, dude. It's fine. So I'm doing both of those. So I write down the lines, I listen to it, I write down anything that gets a laugh, write down a line. And then I also have in parentheses how good the laugh was. So if it's a small laugh, whatever, I probably won't ever say it again. If it's like a medium laugh, I'm like, okay, we could bring it to this thing. And then if it's a big laugh, it's in the act. It's like, and then after that, so I'll listen to the sets, do what I can. And I feel weird giving out my little tricks to the trade here. Okay. Anyway,
I'm sorry.
Don't feel weird. It's interesting.
good,
because
and
it's also so different than what I do.
Yeah.
Than when I do that. It's like interesting.
Yeah, I think
how it
two
works.
things. One, part of this whole thing and why I'm talking to so many different people is everyone does it different, right? Like I don't
Yeah.
like no one else is going to be able to take the Brendan Sagalow method. I mean, unless you want to be a
they
creep and start.
easily, it's the simplest method in the world.
But like Casey, who is tremendously funny and a beast of a comic, I don't think you couldn't do this every day, right? Like
I can't listen to
drive
myself.
you up a fucking wall.
No, I'm too. I still have. I'm working, and I've worked really like the imposter syndrome thing, which I'm kind of over. But still, when I watch one of my, even if there was a set that felt good in the moment, sometimes when I watch it back, I'm like, what were you thinking? You thought this was good. Like, so I'm trying to work myself out of stuff like that. So, but you know what? Maybe there's something to desensitizing myself to listening to my sets.
It works.
That would kind of get me over it. But I also like when I have a set, it's like kind of the set that I tell for a bit and I'll work in other little tags and then other things will kind of work out. But I know I don't change up this set so bigly and fastly that I need to listen to it every day because I'm not trying that much new shit all the time. You know what I mean? Like it's like once I kind of sit and then I'll be like, oh, I'll rotate this little new tag in, which means that I rotate this out or I kind of move, which is so funny because there's somebody that a couple people are always like, I feel like you always have new stuff. And I'm like, I feel like I never have new stuff, but you just never, you don't know what other how fast or slow other people work, you know? It's just it's a very interesting thing where I'm like, no man, I kind of feel like I get set in
Yeah.
certain things and that's what I tell forever. But it would be helpful probably to go back and listen to older sets and think about and see if there's like some other shit that I would because it
Yeah.
is sometimes you just need to put something on a shelf and bring
Oh
it back. And
yeah.
like
And you're
and I'm
like,
totally
oh
fine
fuck
with
yeah.
bringing back old jokes and like putting them onto a new joke or just bringing it back into a set, like you said, for myself to be like, I'm fucking sick of these jokes that I have right now. I don't really have anything new. My brain is not working. I'm not functioning on this level right now where I feel like I have anything new. So it's like I'm not opposed to going back and being like, oh, that was a fun joke, and like then that kind of or changing up the order
Yeah.
to kind of trick myself into thinking that I have a new set when I'm
Yeah.
really just changing the order or bringing back an old joke. I think that's like one thing that I think I was talking like Ashley Austin Morris about it when she was like, I just feel stuck. I'm like, just change the order or bring back an old joke. And I feel like that always helps me feel a little more rejuvenated
Yeah.
because it just feels like a different rhythm.
Yeah.
Or like to just, do those little spots where you just kind of like whenever I do barbershop, I never try to go on a script. Like I just kind of let myself talk there. And then I remember like, oh, you can just kind of like lead into jokes a different way than you're normally doing.
Yeah.
And then that always kind of breaks everything. Because sometimes, when you're just not like in New York or Gotham and it's big crowds, you're kind of just like you want to hit the marks because it feels good. But when you're at these like littler, more intimate spaces to like kind of be a little more fluid with it. Again, it's like all with the presence thing. It just kind of feels.
Yeah.
I think I need to trick myself. The moral of my story is trick yourself into thinking you have new jokes by doing old jokes.
Yeah.
There you go. That's the key to comedy, kids.
Yeah. I mean, I'll live and die by the new joke. I think the new having a new joke fixes everything. If you're doing it just makes you like that helps for listening too, because you're like, of course I want to listen to how well this joke did. I don't want to hear me the same old bullshit, because then you start hating it and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I'll like 5 get myself to that joke.
Yeah. Oh, get yourself to the new joke. Yeah, there are definitely times when like if I say something new on stage that works, I will like in my notes be like tag or fun or add on so that like I would be like, okay, go listen to how or sometimes I'll be like, listen to how you worded this or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I definitely, and it's so funny. I still record every set and I couldn't tell you the last time I listened to a fucking set.
At least you got them.
Yep.
Using all the data, recording everything. But yeah, it's just such a weird, it's a weird job and it's very strange. And sometimes I just don't know how do you get to this point? You know what I mean? Like, how do you all of a sudden you go, oh my God, it's been 12 years and I'm still doing this. And it's like, it just feels it almost feels more foreign now than it did when I first got on stage, just because I've had time to reflect to be like, what a fucking weird
what
thing
you
to
are.
do.
It's not, I mean, people say I'm not my job, but it's like,
yes, we
are. Yes,
in
we
this
are.
case, for sure.
We just have been it's not what we do, it's what we are now. Like, it's just my life. I mean, I guess you could quit.
Oh, trust, I've been on the verge, but it is kind of just like, what would I do?
Yeah.
What do I do?
What do I do? What would I do? What would I do?
It's
what
just
are
such a weird thing. What is it life? What is life? What is
that always made me laugh when I first started interviewing comics for things. And I was very new to comedy. So, what the hell did I know? But I would always ask the question of like, if you didn't do comedy, what would you be doing? And it was so interesting to see like the more experienced the comic was, the more they were like, what are jobs? What do other people do? I have no idea.
I have a couple answers for that. I think I think there's a couple of roads I could have gone down.
What do you like?
I could be a delivery man for the rest of my life, but it would
Really?
never pay, and I would have no health insurance, and I would be one of the old guys that's just a delivery guy. Yeah, in like Long Island or something, and I'd probably not make enough money, and my parents would probably have to pay for everything, more than they do now, and they'd have to like get me a house and stuff. It would be a really weird life, and I'd
They'd
just be this,
have
like,
to get me a house.
or something. I'd like they'd help pay for my 1 bedroom apartment while I'm delivering food, and just a loser. Not saying that if you deliver food and that's your life, you're a loser.
That's it, you're
Or
canceled.
I think, well, like offending me, basically.
Yeah.
Those are his dreams.
Those are my dreams. Yeah, I still want
his
that. That's
second
my
dream.
that's
I
my
know.
5-year plan. Yeah, that's my plan B. That's my plan B. Or I
What's plan
would
C?
probably get like some weird like data analyzing job at like a firm that my dad knows the CEO or something, and could probably
call in a
help me get
favor.
a call in a favor, get me a
For like just
job.
a good on paper.
Easy peas,
run of
have
the
to wear a
mill.
suit in a cubicle, data analyzing or something, putting in something, putting
For
in
entry.
data entry.
Yeah.
And
Data
entry.
You'd be
entry.
the
Data
severance.
entry.
You'd be the severance people.
Yes, exactly. We're the first to go.
Yeah.
We're the first to go when they start doing downsizing.
Downsizing.
But other than that, I don't know.
Well,
Probably not.
Yeah.
I did not mean to lead us to are you going to quit comedy? Or I guess that was going to be more Sagalow, but here we are.
That's where all comedy conversations eventually go.
I mean, it's true.
Yeah.
they
You're like,
all-
why
they all do.
haven't I
It's-
quit by now?
I know, it's so funny too, because it's like, you can't quit. What are you talking about? That's inconceivable. But then there are those people we know that did, and they are
It's
living
so
happy
conceivable.
lives.
Happy
and I'm
lives.
like, congratulations to you.
Congrats.
How
Yeah.
did you do that?
Yeah,
It's
sometimes
so
when somebody's
conceivable.
like, when I'm like, you ever find yourself like convincing someone to not give up on their dream kind of situation where you're like, come on, like they have the blues. So you're like,
Mhm.
no, it's going to be okay. Do you ever have that thought where you're like, am I convincing someone to have a terrible life?
Yes.
Like, am I being, yes.
I think that all the time. I mean, because I also,
Yeah.
I mean, my imposter syndrome is I second guess everything I say to people of like, oh, are you being like too helpful, enably? Do you know what I mean? Because you just like
Yeah.
want to be empathetic, and maybe what you need to say to them is like, yeah, fucking go work for Uber Eats, man.
Yeah. Like their survival instincts are kicking in, and you're like, no, you don't want health insurance.
No.
That sucks.
Yeah.
You
Paid
wanna
time off?
You
No.
gotta keep doing heroin. You gotta keep
Yeah.
doing heroin. Okay.
Exactly.
You have to at this point.
You're not
We
gonna
all gotta keep
stop.
doing
It's what
heroin.
you are now.
Yep. But yeah, so I thank you. This has been tremendous. Very good exploration of all things writing from two very different perspectives, which is perfect. Is there any kind of pithy little last thoughts you have for people who are, stuck at a point of like, oh my God, how do I get to that feature length set from where I am?
I think just like it sucks that this is like something that somebody tells you when you're first starting out and you're like, okay, but like when people say you really don't kind of know who you are, your voice for 10 years, it's like I was doing comedy for 10 years before I really did feel like at that 10-year mark I go, oh, like you really do, like I'd say just know that like time, it's just like I think it's time. I think we all want to be somewhere faster, and some people do make it there, and some people can write like crazy and they can hit 20 minutes after a little amount of time. But like
Yeah.
if you don't, just know that like on average people, you don't know what comic you are or who you are, or you don't feel comfortable, and by comfortable I mean you kind of just stop giving a shit in a way for a while. So I think it's like, if you're not there yet, just know that like you're not the only person that doesn't have 20 minutes, and just try to, I guess, try a different way of writing. See if you can sit down and write, see if you can write on stage, see if there's one thing that's happened to you in your life that you can just write out as a regular story and punch it up, and see if you can't grab 7 to 10 minutes of that.
Yeah.
But like I just think don't pressure yourself, don't get down on yourself if you are fucking 5 years in and don't have 20 minutes. I felt like, you know what I mean? Like that's not crazy, especially with how often and how you cycle in and out in those first 5 years, because
Yeah.
your first like year of shit is going to be blowjob jokes and bullshit joke. Like, you know what I mean? Like you're going to be going for easy stuff at first. At least most people do.
Yeah.
Because it's just what you, so I'd say like, don't think that it's not normal. Like it's totally normal for this to take a fucking while. And some people pop off and
Yeah.
people are a slow burn, but like, hey man, like it will, you're not by yourself on this branch. Is that a saying?
No, I mean,
no, but I like
it is now.
You're
I'm
not by
saying it now.
yourself on
I mean,
this
that makes
branch.
sense though, because you're like, you're up a tree is a phrase that I like
Yeah.
all the time. So if you're up a tree, you're
Yeah.
not alone on the branch.
Not alone
You're
on the
not
branch.
alone there's lots of people up there just trying to make 20 minutes work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't stress about time. Don't stress about like your age. Don't stress about any of that shit, because once you love stand up, it's not about any of that stuff. It doesn't matter how old you are or whatever, or all that shit. Just write, do the job. I was watching
Do the work. Yeah.
do the work, but like, if you write, you're gonna write faster. If you're gonna spew out ideas faster, you're gonna be able to build the set. If you just do that, just keep pumping out ideas. Don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to bomb. That's where the fun is. Get good at bombing. If you do a joke and it sucks, be in that moment, say you suck. You don't have to do it sadly, but
people love when you acknowledge that you're bombing, and then they start to like you. So
until
like,
they don't like it.
Until
they don't like it. When it's too much.
Yeah.
Well, you only say it once, Brendan.
Yeah, then I just keep going. After a while, I just start laughing to myself. I think that I'll have a joke that doesn't.
You're
do
one
it.
of the funnest people to watch. You don't bomb a lot, but like I have seen you just in like weirder crowds. Especially like maybe like a couple years ago, like because I feel like you in the last couple years, like you've always been funny, but you've gotten like so fucking funny and so confident, and it's like it's really fun to watch. But like watching you bomb is also so fun because you are so. Like you will so lean into it.
Oh yeah.
And it's so you truly, like you said, get good at bombing. Like you are great at bombing.
Yeah. I'm good at bombing. I'm good at.
You are so fun to watch when you're not doing well.
Except when I'm not as well.
Yeah.
That's also
usually you go all the way around.
I
But
would say,
yeah.
I would say a good Sagalow bomb or Greg Stone. Those are my two favorite people to watch just spiral. Not fully spiral, you're in control the whole time.
Just being like, what is this? What are we doing? Why aren't you guys laughing?
Yeah.
But yeah, don't be afraid to. I know it sucks early on when you're like, I can't bomb. I have to prove myself. That you should be like, yeah, whatever. But like, if you do, it's fine. And you're fine. Everything's gonna be fine. I was watching the Tony Hawk documentary.
If you bomb every single time for 12 years, quit. But
you're gonna want to quit. You're gonna want to bomb a
handful of times, like it's fine.
Yeah,
like,
I'm glad.
If nobody ever laughs, maybe think about doing data entry.
I'm glad you stopped me right before I said I was watching the Tony Hawk documentary. I mean, you saved my life.
You did get it out. You did.
We heard it.
Say Tony
Hawk.
We
heard it.
But in it, I'm still gonna say it. But in it,
yes.
There's a character there. So at the end, they're talking about Tony Hawk and is he too old to be doing all of this stuff? Is his loved ones, because they have one guy who is like his mentor, being like, he needs to stop. He's fucking his body up. We love him. We don't want to see him in a fucking wheelchair for the rest of his life.
Like Mankind. Remember Mankind's family being like, please stop wrestling.
Please stop doing this.
Your head is swollen too much. Yeah.
But then they cut to another guy who was like a skater, like a pro skater, has been doing it for 30 plus years. It's his life. And he said, these people don't understand that Tony is like us. Like Tony's like me. He's like, this is what we do. We are going, this is how we're going to die. And this is what's going to drive us into the ground.
This is it.
that's kind of how I feel about stand up. It's like that no one can take it away from me. Like with all this bullshit, with all of this fucking not getting this, not getting that, that person is a fucking asshole and all that shit. They can't take
We
away
can't
that.
say anything anymore. Yes, we can.
I say things all the time.
We do. We all do. Yes. It's always, you're right. It's like, it's always going to be there. They can't take it away. Like there's
Right.
this art form will prevail.
So love it and work on it and you'll be all right. And don't be an asshole.
Yeah, don't be an asshole.
Don't be an asshole. Yeah, because there's
That's
a
like
lot of
the
people that
easiest
are
one.
entitled and think that they deserve stuff before they get it, and you don't. You know, you'll know when you do. But like a lot of you that are 2 years in that thinks that you should be doing shit, you shouldn't be.
Oh yeah.
And don't rape anybody.
Yes, that's
Don't
a
rape
big one for
anybody.
everyone.
That's a big
in
one.
comedy
That's gonna-
and out of comedy. Don't rape anyone.
Not one person, not two, not nobody.
Nobody. It's not even cool with one. I tried.
Okay,
Kidding. I'm
Brendan.
kidding. Come
All
on.
right,
we're kidding.
you're like
We're gonna
I'm
have
getting
that.
canceled on this podcast.
Go
All
back
right,
to talking
well,
about Tony Hawk.
Yeah. All right. Well, so that the pitchforks can come for you. Tell everybody where they can find you on all the socials and the thises and the that's.
Instagram, Twitter at Brendan Sagalow, and listen to my podcast. Here's the scenario.
I'm at
That's it.
Instagram and TikTok at KSpaceB. And I have a new podcast coming out called Never Not Tired. It will be about parenting. And it should be coming out in April. It should be pretty fun. Yeah.
Nice. All right. Well, thank you both very much.
Thanks for
Thanks,
having us.
James.